In this video, we'll be taking a look at 4 college basketball games happening on March 21st, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 8 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 4 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start. If you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below, where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Mount St. Mary's versus Duke. The NCAA tournament continues with an exciting first-round matchup between the 16th-seeded Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers and the top-seeded Duke Blue Devils in the East region. The game will take place Friday afternoon in Raleigh, and it's sure to be an intriguing clash between the underdogs and the powerhouse. Mount St. Mary's earned the right to face Duke by defeating American University 83-72 in their first 4 game on Wednesday night, going into the game as a 3-point underdog and coming out victorious. On the other hand, Duke enters the tournament fresh off a strong performance in the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament, where they claimed the championship by defeating number 13 Louisville 73-62. As a 6.5-point favorite, they covered the spread in their title game. This will be the first ever meeting between these two teams in the NCAA tournament as Division I opponents. The NCAA tournament's first round brings us an intriguing matchup between the top-seeded Duke Blue Devils and the 16th-seeded Mount St. Mary's Mountaineers. Mount St. Mary's made it to this point by defeating American University 83-72 in the first 4. Their offensive performance in that game was impressive, as they shot 58% from the field, 41% from beyond the arc, and 82% from the free throw line. Sophomore guard Dallas Hobbs had a strong showing with 17 points, while frontcourt players Jetty Cordelia and Dola Adebayo each added 22 points. On the other side, Duke enters the tournament on an 11-game winning streak, with standout freshman Cooper Flagg expected to play after suffering a left ankle sprain during the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament. Head coach John Shayer is optimistic about Flagg's status, stating that it's full steam ahead for the opening game of the tournament. Both of these teams have been performing at a high level against the spread, no matter the circumstances, whether they are underdogs or favorites, after wins or losses, or regardless of how much rest they have. This makes it tricky to find a clear betting edge for either team. Currently, the betting line has Duke favored by 32.5 points. While Duke is expected to win, covering such a large spread isn't guaranteed. Mount St. Mary's has been on an offensive tier lately, and with Duke possibly taking a cautious approach due to Flagg's return, this could turn into a more competitive game than many expect. As our first pick for this matchup, we're going with Mount St. Mary's to cover the spread as underdogs. Despite their offensive strengths, Mount St. Mary's ranks 279th in offensive efficiency, primarily due to their significant turnover problems. They are ranked 357th in turnover percentage, giving the ball up on 21.6% of their possessions. The Mountaineers are also 165th in tempo, averaging 67.5 possessions per game. Over their last 11 games, they've stayed under the total in 8 of those contests. On the other hand, Duke is ranked 3rd in offensive efficiency and 4th in defensive efficiency, according to Ken Palm. The Blue Devils are 246th in tempo, averaging just 66.9 possessions per game, but their efficiency more than makes up for it. They also rank 20th in turnover percentage, 5th in effective field goal percentage, and 13th in 2-point shooting this season. Duke is expected to capitalize on Mount St. Mary's turnover issues and score easy buckets in transition. While both teams have been solid defensively, allowing fewer than 70 points per game this season, their real strength lies in their offense. Duke, ranked in the top 15 for scoring this season, is likely to dominate in a high-scoring game. For Mount St. Mary's, the over has hit just 3 times in their last 10 games, and they've scored 70 or more points in 5 of those contests. Meanwhile, the over has hit 7 times in Duke's last 10 games, and during that stretch, they've averaged 89 points per game, including 93 points per game over their last 8 games with Cooper Flagg in the lineup. As our second pick for this matchup, we're taking the over on the projected total for the game. Colorado State versus Memphis. The 12th-seeded Colorado State Rams, sporting an overall record of 25 wins and 9 losses, with a 16-4 mark in Mountain West Conference play, are heading into the first round of the NCAA tournament with hopes of pulling off a surprise victory. They will be facing off against the 5th-seeded Memphis Tigers, who have put together an impressive 29-5 record, including a dominant 16-2 performance in the American Athletic Conference. This exciting matchup is set to take place on Friday afternoon at Climate Pledge Arena. With both teams playing at a high level, this first-round showdown promises to be a compelling contest. Colorado State enters the game riding the momentum of a convincing 69-56 victory over Boise State, a game in which they were slight underdogs by just 1 point. On the other side, Memphis is also coming off a strong showing, having secured an 84-72 win over UAB while covering as 3.5-point favorites. Both teams have been performing well in recent weeks, which sets the stage for an intriguing battle. One historical note worth mentioning is that these two programs met once before, back in 2021, with Memphis coming out on top. That previous meeting between the Rams and Tigers took place in 2021, and it was a game that saw Memphis dominate from start to finish. The Tigers traveled to Colorado State's home court and walked away with a decisive 9-67 victory. Not only did they win outright, but they also covered the spread comfortably. Now, 2 years later, they meet again in a much bigger spotlight with much higher stakes. Odds makers have installed Colorado State as slight favorites in this game, but there is a case to be made that Memphis might actually be the better team. Looking at their overall body of work this season, the Tigers have accumulated more total wins than the Rams, and they have also been more effective away from home, securing 10 road wins compared to Colorado State's 7. However, it is hard to ignore just how hot Colorado State has been lately. They enter this game on a remarkable 10-game winning streak, and during that stretch, they have been perfect against the spread, covering in all 10 of those contests. Memphis, on the other hand, has also been in excellent form with 9 consecutive wins, though their performance against the spread has been much less reliable, going just 5-5 in that span. From a betting perspective, Memphis being listed as an underdog presents a strong opportunity. The defensive numbers are relatively close, with Colorado State ranking 51st in the nation with a 99.1 defensive rating, while Memphis sits slightly higher at 40th with a 97.8 rating. However, where the Tigers hold a major edge is in their ability to crash the offensive glass. The Rams rank just 270th in the country in offensive rebounding percentage at 24.7%, while Memphis is all the way up at 26th with a 33.8% rate. That disparity could be a key factor in determining the outcome of this matchup. As our first pick for this matchup, the Memphis Tigers to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. Scoring has not been an issue for either of these teams this season, and the over has been a frequent result in their games. Colorado State has hit the over in 18 of their 34 contests, finishing with an 18-15-1 over record. Memphis has been nearly identical in that regard, with an 18-16 over record. Their lone previous meeting in 2021 also saw the over hit, which could be an indicator of another high-scoring affair this time around. Additionally, both teams have been moving the ball efficiently in recent games. Over their last 3 matchups, Colorado State has posted an impressive 1.387 assist-to-turnover ratio, while Memphis has maintained a solid 1.15 ratio in that same stretch. With both offenses clicking and no signs of either side slowing down, this game has the potential to feature plenty of points. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. North Carolina versus Ole Miss. The number 6 Ole Miss Rebels are set to go head-to-head against the number 11 North Carolina Tar Heels in the opening round of the South region. Whoever comes out on top in this showdown will move on to face the winner of the 3 versus 14 matchup between Iowa State and Lipscomb. Both teams will be looking to make a strong statement right out of the gate in what should be an intense and high-energy contest. The number 11 Tar Heels wasted no time making their presence felt in the first 4 on Tuesday, putting together a dominant 95-68 win over San Diego State. To put it bluntly, North Carolina ran San Diego State off the court. They were nearly unstoppable on offense, racking up 1 point per possession while shooting an incredible 1-4 for 2-4 from beyond the arc. Free throws were another major factor, with the Tar Heels sinking 21 of their 24 attempts at the line. On the boards, they secured 10 offensive rebounds, giving themselves second-chance opportunities that helped break the game open early. Defensively, they made life miserable for the Aztecs, forcing them into difficult looks. Once North Carolina built a comfortable lead, San Diego State seemed to panic, settling for deep shots in an attempt to claw their way back. That strategy backfired as the Aztecs connected on just 8 of their 27 three-point attempts, sealing their fate well before the final buzzer. Ole Miss has a dangerous offense when they get rolling, but consistency has been an issue all season. They tend to go on streaky runs and don't do a great job of extending possessions with offensive rebounds. Statistically, they rank 313th in the country in offensive rebounding rate, largely due to their lack of dominant size in the paint. That could be a serious problem against a North Carolina squad that thrives on controlling the glass. The Tar Heels are one of the top 25 teams in the nation in defensive rebounding, and once they secure the ball, their veteran backcourt wastes no time pushing the pace in transition. Defensively, North Carolina has been steadily improving, ranking in the top 35 in adjusted defensive efficiency since late February. Combine that with their recent hot streak from beyond the arc, shooting 44% from three-point range in that same stretch, and it's easy to see why they've become one of the hottest teams in college basketball. There's no denying that Ole Miss has played against some of the toughest competition this season, but the question is whether that grueling Southeastern Conference schedule has worn them down. It wouldn't be surprising if fatigue is starting to take its toll. While North Carolina doesn't have a resume filled with marquee wins, the raw talent on this team is undeniable, and they've been clicking on both ends of the floor at just the right time. That's a dangerous combination for any opponent. The Rebels aren't entering the tournament in the best shape, having dropped 5 of their last 8 games. Meanwhile, North Carolina appears to be peaking at the perfect moment. They've been on a tear offensively, scoring over 90 points in 5 of their last 10 outings, and their dominant performance against San Diego State only adds to their momentum. Ole Miss plays at a decent pace but struggles with efficiency, especially from the perimeter. If North Carolina continues to light up the scoreboard like they have been, it's hard to see the Rebels keeping up. As our first pick for this matchup, the North Carolina Tar Heels to win and cover the spread as favorites is our full game side pick. North Carolina's offense has been firing on all cylinders, currently ranking 19th in adjusted offensive efficiency with an average of 120 points per 100 possessions. The Tar Heels have been efficient both inside and out, ranking in the top 65 in field goal percentage and three-point shooting. They also play at a breakneck speed, averaging 70.6 possessions per 40 minutes, which ranks them 34th in the country in tempo. They thrive when the game turns into an up-and-down affair, and they'll likely try to dictate that kind of pace against Ole Miss. On the other side, Ole Miss isn't far behind in terms of offensive efficiency. They sit at 31st in adjusted offensive efficiency with 118 points per 100 possessions, though they play at a slightly slower pace, ranking 131st in tempo at 68.2 possessions per game. One of the more intriguing aspects of this Rebels team is their adaptability. They tend to match the style of play of their opponents, which has led to some high-scoring affairs against teams that like to push the tempo. For example, in matchups against Missouri, Kentucky, and Florida, they had no problem engaging in shootouts. If this game follows that pattern, expect plenty of points on the scoreboard. Everything about this matchup points to an up-tempo, high-scoring battle. North Carolina loves to run, ranking 34th in adjusted tempo, and they've cracked the 90-point mark in half of their last 10 games. Ole Miss may not play quite as fast, but they have a balanced scoring attack that allows them to stay competitive even when one or two players have an off night. The Rebels have also been trending toward high-scoring games, going over the total in 7 of their last 9 contests, and putting up 76 or more points in 4 of their last 6. With both teams willing and able to push the pace, this game has all the makings of a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Akron versus Arizona Hash. Number 13 Akron is gearing up for a tough challenge as they prepare to face off against number 4 Arizona in the opening round of the NCAA tournament. This highly anticipated matchup is set to take place on Friday night at Climate Pledge Arena, where both teams will look to make a statement early in the tournament. Akron will be riding high on momentum after narrowly escaping with a 76-74 victory over Miami, Ohio, covering the spread as 6.5-point favorites. On the other side, Arizona is coming off a disappointing 72-64 loss to Houston, where they failed to capitalize as 5.5-point underdogs. Both squads will be hungry to advance, making for what should be an intense showdown. Akron, slotted in as the number 13 seed for this year's NCAA tournament, is set to go head-to-head with the number 4 seed Arizona Wildcats, and this contest promises to be an electrifying battle between two teams that can put up points in a hurry. Just last year, the Zips made an appearance in the Big Dance as a number 14 seed, ultimately falling short in the first round against Creighton. This time around, Akron enters the tournament in top form, boasting an impressive streak of 7 consecutive wins and having secured victories in 21 of their last 22 games. They have proven they are not intimidated by stronger conferences and will look to prove that against a well-established Big 12 opponent. Meanwhile, Arizona is coming off a tough loss in the Big 12 tournament final against Houston, which means they will be extra motivated to bounce back and go on a deep run. The Wildcats have the firepower to make that happen, but the Zips have shown they are capable of hanging with the best. Heading into this contest, Akron finds itself as a +14 underdog, which suggests a significant gap between the two teams in terms of perceived strength. However, I believe the Zips have enough offensive capability to keep this game competitive. Arizona's defense has struggled at times, allowing an average of 72 points per game throughout the season. Akron, on the other hand, has been efficient offensively, knocking down shots at a 47.3% clip from the field. Looking back at the tail end of Arizona's regular season and conference play, their defense showed major vulnerabilities, giving up 100 points to Arizona State and 96 to Brigham Young University. That bodes well for an Akron team that knows how to move the ball and create scoring opportunities. In the end, I do think Caleb Love's leadership and scoring ability will help push Arizona across the finish line. Still, I expect the Zips to put up a strong fight and keep things interesting for most of the game. As our first pick for this matchup, the Akron Zips to cover the spread as underdogs is our full game side pick. While the spread is intriguing, the point total is also worth a close look, as both of these teams have demonstrated their ability to light up the scoreboard. Throughout the season, both Akron and Arizona have consistently ranked among the top offensive teams in the nation. Akron holds an offensive rating of 113.9, placing them 66th in the country, while Arizona boasts a stellar 122.7 offensive rating, making them the 12th best offensive unit in all of college basketball. Additionally, both teams generate extra scoring opportunities, with Arizona ranking 91st in the nation by averaging 1.9 additional chances per game, while Akron isn't far behind at 106th with 1.5 extra chances per game. Those numbers indicate that both teams should have plenty of opportunities to put points on the board. Recent trends further support the expectation of a high-scoring affair. Akron has hit the over in 2 of their last 3 outings, while Arizona has surpassed the total in 4 of their last 5 contests. Akron has been an offensive machine, putting up an average of 85 points per game while playing at a blistering pace, the 13th fastest in the country with an average of 74.6 possessions per game. They are matched up against an Arizona team that has allowed 76 points per game over its last 3 contests. Meanwhile, the Wildcats themselves are no strangers to scoring in bunches, averaging 82 points per game. They play at a slightly slower but still up-tempo pace, ranking 63rd nationally with 72.6 possessions per game. They will be facing an Akron defense that has surrendered 77 points per game over its last 3 outings. All things considered, this game has all the makings of a shootout. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed. Subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.